Guy Ritchie has a new film dropping in April. Kenneth Branagh is directing a Bee Gees biopic. Benedict Cumberbatch says hell no to Star Wars. Michael B. Jordan is going to make his directorial debut. And finally, Ruby Rose says she's open to returning to Batwoman. Let's get into it. Guy Ritchie has a new film dropping on April 23rd called Wrath of Man, starring Jason Statham and Scott Eastwood. Let's read the article. Hot on the heels of The Gentleman, filmmaker Guy Ritchie returns with his new action thriller Wrath of Man, which has been set for April 23rd release. It doesn't say if it's VOD, HBO Max. I can only assume that it's just dropping in theaters. A remake of the 2004 French action thriller Le Convoyeur. The story follows Jason Statham, a cold and mysterious character working at a cash truck company responsible for moving hundreds of millions of dollars around Los Angeles each week. The story weaves through a suspenseful and carefully constructed narrative. The film shifts across timelines and between various characters' perspectives for a thrilling and mind-bending experience. Sounds interesting. Looking forward to it. Always enjoy a Guy Ritchie film. My favorite is Snatch. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Both Sherlock Holmes movies. Looking forward to it. Next up, Kenneth Branagh to helm a Bee Gees film. Thor and Artemis Fowl helmer Kenneth Branagh is set to direct the Untitled Bee Gees movie for Paramount Pictures, GK Films, and Amblin and Sister. Blackadder and Stark alumni Ben Elton is writing the script for the long-gestating movie, which has Graham King from Bohemian Rhapsody attached as producer. Barry Gibb and his brothers, twins Maurice and Robin, formed the musical trio in the 1960s, arriving in London from Australia. From there, the Bee Gees scored their first number one hit in 1967 and played a massive part in the rise of the popularity of disco with hits like Saturday Night Fever, How Deep Is Your Love, More Than a Woman, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart, Stayin' Alive, Tragedy, Night Fever, and more. Anthony McCartan is penning the film, which Barry Gibb, the sole surviving member of the band, is executive producing. I've watched a couple of documentaries on the Bee Gees, and I had a lot more respect for them after I watched these documentaries, because I really thought they were just kind of like a one-horse pony with the whole Saturday Night Fever thing, but they are not. They are one hell of a group. So I'm looking forward to that one also. Moving on to the next bit of news. Benedict Cumberbatch was asked about possibly playing Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka series, and this was his reply to that. That's a straight no for me right now. There's no way I want to be turned blue. I turned the air blue very recently. No, seriously, I have precious time with my children, and I think sitting in a makeup chair and being painted blue, and the amount of time it would take to do that and then take it off at the end of the day might just, it's not the right time in my life for that. The article goes on to say, to be clear, this in no way means that Grand Admiral Thrawn won't be making an appearance on The Mandalorian. To be honest, it seems like a near certainty that we'll see his evil blue face in a major Star Wars property sooner than later. But for now, despite the intense amount of fan art out there, Benedict Cumberbatch isn't interested in playing him. But the question was really, it wasn't put to him, and the character wasn't described that well to him. So before being asked this question, he had no idea who the character was, and I thought the question could have been put to him better as the interviewer described Thrawn as a blue-skinned alien. The only makeup he would have needed would have been to his face and maybe his hands, as Thrawn is always seen in his Admiral uniform. So the whole makeup thing would probably take under an hour to put on and probably 5 minutes to take off. I respect that he wants to spend more time with his kids. As a father myself, I know how important that is. But I think he really would have been a great fit for this role. We still have Lars Mikkelsen playing the role, apparently, in the Ahsoka series. He is a good runner-up, and I'm happy with it. Next up, Michael B. Jordan is set to direct Creed 3. This will be his directorial debut. He has long been linked to the job, but it's now official. Actor Michael B. Jordan has closed a deal to make his directorial debut on, I wanted to say Assassin's Creed. He's going to make his directorial debut on Creed 3 for MGM. Jordan will also return to reprise his role as the embattled boxer in the third installment and will also produce the film, which is targeting a November 23rd, 2020 release. Tessa Thompson and Felicia Rashad are expected to reprise their roles for the new movie, which is being written by Keenan Coogler and Zach Balin, based on an outline by original Creed Helmer Ryan Coogler. The two previous films in the Rocky spin-off series have made almost $400 million at the worldwide box office. Jordan's plan to direct has been rumored for months. Erwin Winkler, Charles Winkler, William Chardoff, David Winkler, Jonathan Glickman, and Ryan Coogler will all produce. That's a lot of producers. And finally, Ruby Rose is open to returning to Batwoman. I'm really surprised at this one. She had an accident on set that one time, and it ended up she had to have neck surgery or back surgery. I'm really surprised she would want to go back to this place, but whatever. Almost a year after Australian actress Ruby Rose's abrupt and surprising exit from the CW's Batwoman, she has now revealed that she has left the door open to reprising her role as Kate Kane. Out on promotional interviews for the action thriller SAS Red Notice, co-starring Sam Heughan, Rose says she's absolutely open to returning in the future as long as it made sense for the story. However, she adds it is more important that the show now focuses on developing Javicia Leslie's new Batwoman character, Ryan Wilder. She tells Comic Book Movie, I'm obviously moving on to other roles, as I think I've done about 3 films since. I would totally do it. I don't think it would serve the story because I think building the new Batwoman is more important than going back too far into Kate Kane, but of course I would. I would absolutely do anything they wanted. As far as I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a couple of the episodes, and I think how they're handling it is beautiful. I think it's her time to shine. Second season of the series began with Kate Kane having apparently perished in a plane explosion with no body found. Much of the season's storyline has been characters looking into her disappearance, which seems to have been orchestrated by the mysterious and powerful Zafia. Where the show is heading isn't clear, but the storyline does seem designed in a way that would allow Rose's Kane to return for a guest episode or two, passing on a blessing to Ryan Wilder to carry on with the mantle and head off for places unknown. Now, I don't know if any of you actually watch Batwoman, but apparently it's god-awful. The ratings on it are terrible, and the amount of people that watch it, I don't even know how it's still on the air. It's getting like under 500,000 views when it is on, and I think it dipped as low as almost 300,000. That's terrible. Shows have been canceled for being under 1 million, and this one apparently just seems to keep going. I don't know why. Anyway, that concludes everything that I had for you. Please like and subscribe if you like the content that I'm putting out, and I'll see you in the next one.